Just saw him at the Players' Championship a couple weeks ago. Played in both of them. Looking to play in another one here, so we'll see if he's able to make his way back there. Are you a fan of Collected Company?
I love this. I mean, there's just so many decks in Modern. I just love it, and they're all good.
They are all good. That's actually what I like about it, too, is every deck is playable. And Burn actually is really good now.
Yeah.
So here's a Swift Spear. That's where Phil's going to start things off. He's attacking for 1. We're going to head back Logan's way. He'll take his first turn as round number 2 here from Cincinnati is underway. Sacrifice a Verdant Catacombs.
Yeah, we'll see if this Burn deck can capitalize on decks playing all the fetch lands, all the pain lands, the shock lands that have to come into play. And you know, if your opponent takes an extra 4 or 5 damage just from their own lands during a game, that's a big edge for the Burn decks.
So here's a question. You ever play Burn strategies?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get an idea of what's in your wheelhouse.
Oh, no, I've played a bit of everything.
Okay.
You know, a lot of times I was looking for just whatever the best deck was. You know, I was part of a larger team. The team was looking for whatever the best deck was, and usually what the team settled on is what I played.
Here's a Lightning Bolt. Bird down. Prowess Trigger on the Swift Spear. It's a 2-power creature right now. And now it'll attack for 2. Mize is going to fall down to 16.
Vroom, get that engine started.
That's right. This is Burn at work here. Rift Bolt on suspend. And Phil will pass the turn back over to Logan. Logan will untap their step basic forest. Take a draw step here. Now, one of the things that the Burn deck does have a real issue with is Kitchen Finks. It's pretty hard. But they've got Skullcrack. They've got a Tarkus Command, stuff like that. Wall of Roots is...
that's a nightmare.
That's tough. that's big. Phil wants to see what that does. I don't think he's going to like what he sees on the other side. Rift Bolt going to come off suspend. Going upstairs, Logan's going to fall down to 13.
Yeah, that Wall of Roots is blast from the past.
I don't think they're going to reprint that one ever again. just my general thoughts. I think it might just be too good of a ramp spell, honestly.
Yes, it does everything. It blocks, provides mana on both turns.
Yeah,
it does it the turn it comes into play.
I think it's a little out of bounds. Like, I think we could see a card like Vine Trellis. Good block there by Logan. Good block. He's going to go after the wall.
Logan was trying to talk him into. Hey man, yeah, I'll take 3.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna. To me, this turn's a win for Logan. Bolt's going towards the Wall of Roots, not towards him. Assuming his mana cooperates, because his second land was a Gavney Township.
Yes. And you saw him use the fetch land to get the basic forest, trying to preserve his life total.
Temple Garden in hand. He might have to take 2 to play this. He's got Court of Calling over there. Looks like he might have a copy of Fiend Hunter in hand.
Yeah, we'll see if he has enough time to play some of these spells.
Collected Company is in the grip. There's a Temple Garden, going to take 2.
Kapow.
Yeah, if you're a Burn player, you love that. And now it looks like he might be going towards Eternal Witness. So there's the Witness. We'll see what Logan wants to get back here with the trigger.
It's got to be either the land or the wall, right?
I would be surprised if he got back the Bird. He's going to go with the land. So Verdant Catacombs back in the grip. That'll give him land number 4 for Collected Company number 1. Now we're going to go Phil Wiandt's way.
Let's see if Phil can kind of shut the door on this game.
I mean, the longer we go, the worse it is for him.
Yes, and he doesn't have to win this turn, but he has to set it up to where he's probably winning next turn.
He's going to start by attacking. Eternal Witness is going to block, and there's just going to be a trade. Maybe a little surprising there. Okay, the follow-up is Nylon of the Great Revel.
Which, it's a little late.
Yeah, it is a little late to the party. You want this earlier because this could have the potential to deal 4. Now it might not actually deal anything over the course of this game. And this is a card that's actually very good against Logan's deck. He's got cards like Kitchen Finks and Offensive Kintree Spirit, Malira, Viscera Seer. A lot of his cards are pretty cheap.
But at this point in the game, he can just go Collected Companies, Court of Callings, get the silver bullets he needs. Kitchen Finks are going to be coming out of the woodwork, and it's possible that Eidolon is just not doing anything.
A basic swamp here from the Verdant Catacombs. Mine's going to fall down to 10. We might see a main phase Collected Company here. And I think the reason he would want to play it main phase is so he doesn't work himself into Skullcrack territory.
Sure.
Any of that stuff.
Yeah, it's just sharp heads-up play.
Here's Collected Company. Top 6. We'll see if he can find something. Spellskite in there. Eternal Witness. Another Eternal Witness.
Yeah, this is a big problem.
No Finks yet.
No Finks, but he's getting the Collected Company back with a Witness and a Spellskite to boot.
Now, Spellskite's actually kind of an interesting card against Burn because quite clearly it has some applications in the matchup, but a lot of their stuff doesn't target. So there's not a ton to redirect. You look at a card like Lava Spike, you can't retarget that. Skullcrack can't move. Atarka's Command can't move if Phil is on the splash of white or red, or excuse me, of white or green. So you still want it.
Oh yeah,
obviously. We're gonna go Phil's way now.
All right, Phil. We need some high impact spells here.
Yeah, gonna have to fire off with something here because I think if another Collected Company comes, he's probably gonna be shut out of the game.
Yeah, I don't know how many times he's gonna be able to dodge these Kitchen Finks.
That'll be a Lava Spike. That's going upstairs. No redirection there, of course. Mize's gonna fall down to 7.
Phil takes a little himself.
Touche. He'll fall down to 18.
You know, little for me, little for you.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Logan will draw another copy of Temple Garden here. We might see another main phase Collected Company. We could also just see a main phase Court of Calling to get a Finks. How do you like these company decks? You a fan of this style? I mean, obviously this deck has lost Birthing Pod, so they're going to have to change what they're doing. So do you like this kind of grindy Collected Company Court of Calling style deck?
Well, if I were playing it, I think I'd play more kind of green-white hate bears.
Okay.
And have the Collected Company find some silver bullets that are just even more hateful.
Okay. Here's Cord right now. This is main face here from Logan. So he's going to go a Searchin'. And there's Finks number 1.
The nightmare begins.
Yep, this is where things get bad for the Burn deck. So Logan's going to gain some life. He's going to go up to 9. We already know he has another Cord in hand. Finks makes for a great blocker. There's Temple Garden. That's going to enter the battlefield tapped, and we're going to head back Phil's way.
And that Eidolon's only dealt damage to 1 player so far.
This is true. This is true. I think it might only be dealing... I honestly think it's only going to be dealing Phil damage this game.
Yep. It's looking that way right now.
Yeah. I don't think Logan's... I think the only way Logan plays a spell that triggers the Eidolon is if it's something that is going to cause him to win the game.
Another Kitchen Finks, potentially.
Yeah. Goblin Guide. A little late to the party.
Ouch.
I guess he's going to take 2 from this and that.
Ouch.
Yep. I was trying to... This isn't hopeless, but it's not looking good yet, because Finks is going to block immediately. Overgrown Tomb is going to be the reveal, and Windswept Teeth.
Phil, your cards are...
They're helping Logan.
They're helping the wrong guy here.
Yeah. There are some drawbacks to those cards.
We'll have to have a talk with him after the round.
Bring him over to the booth, analyze the game tape. Logan's going to get in front of Goblin Guy.
No, but more seriously, that's the way the games break sometimes. Yeah, these green-white decks, you get... If you don't have the jump on them, they're going to be able to catch back up. Bigger creatures, life gain. The Township's going to knock all those -1/-1 counters off the Finks.
It is worth noting, too, the block there from Logan, where he blocked...
Oh, yeah, he left the Eidolon on the board.
Yeah, he was comfortable doing that. What's he going to do here with Cord?
It's cording for 2, I believe. We'll see what he wants to dig up.
He's going to get Anafenza.
Oh, jeez.
He might just be comboing right now, actually. Yeah, he drew Viscerous here. So now it's Infinite Life against the Burn deck. Anybody's game.
That's tough for a Burn deck to beat.
Yeah, yep. That's just expert analysis by us here in the booth. Little bolster trigger. And now you've got the Infinite Life combo with Anafenza, Viscera Seer, and Kitchen Finks. It'll keep gaining life, keep triggering. And Logan, we can change that 5 to whatever he wants us to.
Sure. Play it out, Phil.
Yeah.
Make him prove it.
He's going to stay for a while. Not sure how much longer. But Logan's going to do this a bunch. I think there's potential Phil's never seen the combo before.
Sure.
And if that's the case, Logan going through the explanation process of this is what I'm going to do. this is why you're going to concede soon.
I've showed you twice. I've shown you 3 times. I'm willing to keep doing this. Yeah.
One of my favorite things in Magic is when you're explaining someone the infinite combo that you're doing.
Yeah.
And they're just like, well, hold on. And no, you're dead.
They let it resolve once, and then they're like, wait.
Yeah. How's that work? Okay, I'll show you again. That's fine. Now I also get to scry every time and set the top card in my library. And I think Phil has realized the situation here, and we're going to see him concede in just a moment.
All right, talked him into it. Yeah.
Logan did talk him into it. Logan Wiandt is going to win game number 1 here over Phil Wiandt. Abzan Company up a game over Burn. When Kitchen Finks shows up to the party in combination with those 2 other creatures, it's infinite life for Logan, which a Burn deck cannot beat. So we take a look at the sideboards now. We will start with Phil Wiandt and his 2 Rending Volleys, his 2 Molten Rains, 4 Destructive Revelry, 3 Deflecting Palms, 2 Skull Cracks, and 2 copies of Searing Blaze. What do you like here? Well,
the Searing Blaze have to be all-stars here. You know, they get a creature off the board, they deal damage. There's always going to be a target for it. That's what you're looking for. A lot of these other cards are tough. Rending Volley might have some targets in the white creatures, but do you really want to bring that in and have it stuck in your hand? The Molten Rains, when you're on the play, might be good enough.
Okay.
I don't know.
The deck does have a lot of non-basics. I don't think that clearly in this matchup, Logan's not going to be actively searching out, fetch land for stopping or for Temple Garden, Overgrown Tomb, stuff like that. But maybe stunting the development could be good. We definitely saw him try that with the Bolt on the Bird early because he searched up a basic for us. Sure. There's potential for that.
And then the Skull Cracks are good against the Kitchen Finks and things like that.
Other side of things here for Logan, his sideboard pretty diversified here with 4 Voice of Resurgence, 2 Abrupt Decay, 2 Path to Exile, a Linvala Keeper of Silence, Norzov Pontiff, an Aven Mind Sensor, Nylon of Rhetoric, a Scavenging Ooze, Gwasali Pride Mage, and a Burrington Forge Tender.
The easy ones here, the Forge Tender coming in, blocks all day, and the Scavenging Ooze, obviously. I don't know if he's going to want some of these cheaper cards, the Voices or the Paths. It'll be interesting to see what he does here.
Yeah, Voice seems like it's fairly good in the matchup. I think there's some applications there because his deck does have a pretty decent Silver Bullet feel to it. Yeah. So he can kind of, I would say, sure things up a little bit. I'm not sure how much he likes things like Malira in the matchup, Murderous Redcap, even though it can have some applications. Path and Abrupt Decay, I don't know if you want removal against this deck. This kind of plays into the something we saw a little bit in the last round. We were watching Todd play against Infect, where Rending Volley does kill Blighted Agent, and Nature's Claim does kill Inkmoth Nexus, but it's pretty thin. Yep. And so this particular burn deck, you've got Goblin Guide, you've got Swift Spear, you saw Eidolon. This build that Phil's playing does have Wild Mikado, even though Logan didn't see any green mana or fetch lands. So I don't know if you want removal, actually.
And there's a couple of Grim Lavamancers there. Those could potentially be a big problem for Logan.
This is true. And then you also don't want to dilute your deck too much. I'm also curious as this second game and potentially third game does play out, how many Court of Callings we're going to see. There's a lot of setup required with that kind of card.
Sure, it's a slower card.
Yeah, the payoff is nice, but when you have a card like that, at least for me, and was curious to see how you feel about it, you probably want to chop down at least a couple copies. I don't know about all of them.
Yeah, I'd want to streamline the deck a little bit so it's just not as expensive.
Okay.
You don't want the Nightmare situation where he comes out faster than you, kills one of your creatures, and then you're stuck with a couple of Quarter Callings in your hand. Yeah, never able to cast that card. So those are the options there for both players. And we'll see how they elect to sideboard. Phil Wiandt will be on the play here for game number 2. Now, as these players do get ready, we will talk about the Star City Games YouTube page, where you can go back and watch this tournament, any of the matches that we do cover. You can take a look at some of our premium archives of Magic Online videos, Open Series archives from this tournament and other tournaments as well, like our Players Championship, and there are also specialty content like some unboxings and a whole bunch more. YouTube.com/Star City Games for more information. You were surprised about unboxings this morning. You didn't know that was a thing. I did not realize that people open packs and other people watch that. Oh, yeah. I mean, I know it happens at like the local gaming store. Someone's like, yeah, I bought a box. Everyone's excited, wants to see if they open, an Expedition or the Foil Mythic or whatever the case. I didn't realize that you could stream this and actually have a large audience. What you will find is you can find anything on the internet. You try hard enough. But you need people to want to see it. That's true. That's true. I mean, to each their own. That's one of the great things about Magic is that it's so multifaceted at this point. There's people who just enjoy collecting. There's people who enjoy the artwork aspect of it. There's people who are super competitive. There's people that are casual. And everyone can be involved in the game in some way. Yeah. It's the best game in the world for a reason, man. Yeah. It is numero uno. And there are quite a few players that agree here this weekend. Well, just walking around the hall, you see some of the dealers that do the custom modifications to the cards.
Yeah, the alters.
Yeah, I love that.
I actually like that a lot too.
I think it's awesome.
I don't have a collection anymore. I wish I did, but I'm a big fan of that as well. Now, I'm taking a look at Twitter here. Your Twitter handle really popping off right now.
Well, of course.
At Craig Krempels for you at home. Made earlier this morning.
It's been popular for months.
Yeah, with, I believe you're at 12 followers now at this stage.
Wow.
I know.
I'm going to have to call some of these people. I'm sorry, people, but, you know, I just can't.
What we have here, someone here on Twitter, and we do take requests on Twitter, they would like you to say, you wouldn't like me when I'm angry. Can you go ahead and...
But what if people would like me when I'm angry?
But apparently they say that you look like Edward Norton. Have you gotten this before?
I don't think so.
You've never gotten Edward Norton?
I don't think so.
Okay.
What do you think?
It's close. It's close. I'm going to have to do a side-by-side here.
Sure. Maybe if Edward Norton was, you know, a little more attractive as a man.
You think you have Edward Norton beat on looks? I had no idea.
I mean,
I'm not leaning either way.
I don't know if you've seen me before, Cedric.
I've seen Edward Norton. Okay, there's...
All right, currently, the people at home can't see this.
I understand.
He's holding up his cell phone with a picture of Edward Norton next to me, and he's looking at me much more than the picture of Edward Norton.
Well, that's true. You're the better looking of the two.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of resemblance here. Like, I could see you in Fight Club, for example.
Sure.
I could see you playing that role as Tyler Durden.
Yeah, the people in Fight Club, they wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Exactly. See? Beautifully. Beautifully done. You're natural.
Sure.
You're an absolute natural here. Both players are going to take a look at their opening hands here. Logan Mize currently up a game. Phil Wiandt will be on the play here for game number 2. We'll see if Byrne can tie things up against Obs on Company.
I hope the people at home know I intentionally jumbled the movie references.
Oh, did you? Did you? I'm not willing to give you that much credit.
Okay.
And they aren't either. We as a whole, me and the Twitterverse, we don't believe you.
All right.
A stomping ground is where Phil's going to start. Is it a 1-drop?
He's got a ton of them.
It is. It's a Swift Spear yet again. Logan's going to fall down to 19.
All right, getting the party started.
I think it's very important for the burn deck to have a creature on turn 1.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it's Lavamancer, it's just really important to get started. And his deck, as you mentioned, does have a ton of them, including Wild Mikado.
Yeah, he has so many 1-drops, it's hard for him not to have one on turn 1.
And he's got Guy, Nikado, Lavamancer, and Swift Spear. That's 16, right? Or, excuse me, 4, 12, 14. Logan's going to start by sacrificing a Windswept Heath. It's going to fall down to at least 19. Here's Noble Hierarch. Now, ignoring Searing Blaze, obviously, because if he has land plus Searing Blaze, it's pretty easy.
Sure.
If you're playing against a company deck, the deck is obviously 3 colors. Are you supposed to kill a Mana Accelerant or save the burn for the dome?
Well, this is the point of the game where Patrick Sullivan at home is going, you just gut shot that guy and slam your Eidolon on the Great Revel on turn 2. And you just got the whole game locked up.
It's just probably over right there.
Yeah. But, you know, Phil didn't show up with his gut shots today, so.
That's tough. I do love a good gut shotting. There are 2 Searing Blazes in the sideboard. There are none in the main deck, so perhaps Phil has one here as he searches up a basic mountain.
Yep, he's going to get that land.
I always do. It's just kind of interesting to me. Like, when you play against this deck, the natural inclination is just to kill the Mana Accelerant and, you know, kind of move on with life. You know, you bolt that thing, maybe you play another creature, keep going. But there can be arguments made that you just let that thing stay alive. As I mentioned, if it's Searing Blaze, which it is, this makes it very easy.
Sure, a little of both.
Searing Blaze is going to take care of the Noble Hierarch. It'll also give a Prowess trigger for the Swift Spear. So this is an ideal start here for Phil.
For sure, but I think even if he didn't have the Searing Blaze, he's got to get that creature off of the table. If Logan is able to start ramping into multiple creatures a turn, all of the creatures left in Phil's deck are almost blanks. They're almost dead draws. And you saw how dangerous it was when the collected companies and quarter calling started to resolve.
Basic Swamp here for Mize off the fetch side. He's already down at 12. It's his second turn of the game. And now there's Wall of Roots. The follow-up is a Bird of Paradise. That's a good turn for Logan.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that this deck does so well is stay in the game with so many plays. Lots of cheap spells. Hangs around, and then it'll just beat you. Find the right card, and you just lose.
And this is kind of what you talked about, too, where the creatures become irrelevant pretty quickly.
Yep.
You know, because if he draws a card like Goblin Guide now or another Swift Spear, it doesn't really matter all that much. So now it might be time to just start firing burn spells upstairs. And even a card like Eidolon of the Great Revel just might be too late now.
Yeah, it looked like he drew an Eidolon there. And we'll see if it if it actually damages Logan this game. Yeah.
Wasn't particularly good in game number 1, unfortunately, for Phil.
Yeah.
A couple different cards in hand here. He's going to start by attacking with the Swift Spear.
Walls are made for blocking.
They are. There's Lightning Bolt again. We saw this in the last game.
That's another win.
The follow-up here for Phil, if he has one. Man, this is very reminiscent of game number 1.
Yep. Just you spend so much time occupied trying to get some creatures off the board, and you don't have enough to burn out the opponent.
Yep. Just can't cross the finish line. Mize looking at a Viscera Seer in hand. There's a Spellskite over there. Path to Exile in the grip as well.
Yep, looks like he did bring in that Path to Exile.
Yep.
Just make sure he doesn't get behind too fast. Make sure if an Eidolon comes down, he doesn't take too much damage from it.
Now for Logan, there's the Spellskite. There's the Seer. Pass the turn back. No third land.
Which is a problem, but he can operate so smoothly, so efficiently off of 2 lands and a bird that he should be fine for a while. Not to count Phil out. Phil still has a lot of cards in his hand, and it could just be a whole bunch of burn spells.
Yep. We could see untargeted burn spells here that just do go to the dome. Good cards like Skullcrack, Tarkus Command, Boros Charm. He has access to all of that stuff.
Yep, the Lava Spikes.
Yep. Looks like he's just going to pass the turn. No, he's not. Okay. I thought he was just passing the turn back. Here's Eidolon.
It looks like Logan does have that Collected Company in his hand.
Much like the last game.
Yeah.
He's just got to find land number 3 to be able to cast it. That did not look like it.
That was not it.
Don't have a great look at what that card is. Oh, never mind. It is.
Oh, it's.
Take it back. Texas Plains.
I love the extended artworks.
Now see, now we get to get in this conversation about what kind of lands and artwork you like.
Yep.
I am a big fan of unhinged lands. I do like some Zendikar Texas lands.
Sure. There's a lot of neat lands out there. I mean, the Guru lands from back in the day, so beautiful.
I think that might be Magic's best land. But
yes.
some people are, like Joe said, he likes his white bordered lands, which I don't.
I mean, some people are okay with being wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, that's
very true. A Scavenging Ooze here for Logan.
The only issue with the Guru lands is that they're a tad pricey.
$100 million.
Yeah, I mean, I can either open this pack and get a land, or I could buy a card that does the exact same thing for $400.
Well, the great thing about Guru lands, you can get those. StarCityGames.com.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Go on the website.
That's right. Those are available there.
Pick some up.
Just a Scavenging Ooze and a Bird of Paradise there off the Collected Company. No Kitchen Finks there.
You know, I wouldn't say just a Scavenging Ooze and a Kitchen Finks. Not a... Was there Finks? A bird.
Finks, Ooze and a Bird.
Ooze and a bird, yeah. But that Ooze represents a big problem.
Yes.
You know, you want to get the Ooze off the table, but that's another burn spell that's not going after Logan's face.
And that's probably a burn spell that's going after that Spellskite.
Yes.
And not the Ooze.
Yep.
This is the kind of puzzle that this deck builds. There's also the Viscera Seer out there, which isn't doing very much, but at the same time, it is actually doing something because you can sacrifice creatures to that, and then you've got creatures in the graveyard for the Ooze to be able to gain life and get larger.
Mm-hmm.
Ooze are typically a real problem for these burn decks.
Each piece might not look that good on its own, but they're all coming together to choke out the opponent.
And that's like this deck has kind of like a tribal feel. Here's Lava Spike going upstairs. Some people really like these kind of decks where like each piece by itself not particularly good, but interwoven they do a lot together.
Well, one of the things that I like about this deck is that the Collected Company decks, the pieces are so redundant.
Sure.
So they're all very similar. It's not like you draw a card that's just out of left field. Some of the decks that run a lot more silver bullets, you draw cards that are just miserable in certain matchups. You're just like, oh, this card's so bad. I wish I'd never drawn this card. This particular Collected Company deck, almost every card is accomplishing your goal.
Yeah. And definitely in this build. with Birthing Pod, your Silver Bullets could be a little bit more extreme. This particular deck, especially Logan's build of it, as you said, everything's really redundant.
Oof.
Another Eidolon, huh?
Well, someone's going to be taking damage. We'll see who.
We're going to go Logan's way now. 2 Eidolons out there on the battlefield. Picked up a land for the turn. He has an Abrupt Decay in hand. So he has brought in that creature removal. Again, it was unclear if he was going to do that, but he's got Abrupt Decay and Path in hand, and an Ooze that can start working towards something.
I'm a little surprised to see all of those come in.
Yeah, again, I wasn't sure when we talked during sideboarding exactly what he wanted to do there.
Like, I can see the Path because it's so efficient, 1 mana. The Abrupt Decays, just, you know, they're 2 different colors, they're 2 mana. I'm a little surprised.
A Stomping Ground here for Phil. He'll pass the turn back. We're having a little bit of an Eidolon staring contest, but in the meantime, Logan's going to activate a Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah, Scavenging Ooze does not care.
Yeah. Exile that Noble Hierarch, gain a life, get a little bit bigger. Birds of Paradise is going to tap for a mana. A Wall of Roots down. Ooze gets a little bit bigger yet again.
And normally, you might think that this waiting game is pretty good for the burn deck. Just accumulate, you know, the critical mass of spells to finish your opponent off. But in a situation like this, it's not looking good.
We've got a response here, maybe. Okay, this Ooze activation is going to resolve.
Yeah, Phil was wondering if he wanted to try to fight that Ooze before he got too big. But between the Ooze being able to get bigger, the Spellskite already on the board, he decided it wasn't his best spot.
Anafenza was the draw here for Logan. Remember, 2 Eidolons on the battlefield, so if Logan were to cast that Anafenza, he'd fall down to 7, which is not great. Phil's life total is a little bit higher, so he's in a way winning this Eidolon war that they're having.
Sure, but with double Eidolon on the board, it's almost difficult for Phil to burn out his opponent without killing himself with the Eidolons.
Yeah, that's definitely the issue at hand right now. So we are in a very strange game state.
I would be surprised to see Logan take damage from these Eidolons here when he doesn't need to.
So the question, I think, right now, if you're Logan, is he's just going to pass the turn back, is Logan has the ability, as I mentioned, to sacrifice things to Viscerous here to make the Ooze bigger and gain some life. So will he ever actually kind of go that route?
I think only if he needs to.
Okay.
You know, to me, he has the inevitability. He can wait for Court of Calling or Collected Company, and they'll put him over the top.
Okay.
You know, and so it's almost on Phil. Yeah, see, Phil's got to make the first move here.
I'm a little surprised to see this attack. And now I'm curious to see how Logan's going to block.
Well, I think Phil recognizes that he has to get these off of the board in order to keep playing his own game.
Sure. So here come the Eidolons. You see Logan's blocks. Phil's going to give that a thumbs up, so it looks like we're ready for damage. Ooze is going to eat 1 Eidolon. Spellskite and the other Eidolon will just look at each other.
So as he gets an Eidolon off the board, which is both good and bad. Now there's another target for the Ooze.
Yep.
You know, this is just... He's going after the Spellskite, I believe, with the Bolt.
It's either Spellskite or Scavenging Ooze.
But that's going to give another target for the Ooze.
Yep.
You know, it's...
First things first, over a trigger from the Eidolon.
Sure.
So they'll resolve that. Phil's going to take 2. We'll figure out what Lightning Bolt is targeting. See Logan going to be responding here.
Yeah.
It was going to target Scavenging Ooze. Bird of Paradise going to tap for a blue mana.
Yep, doesn't even have to take the damage for the Spellskite redirect.
So Lightning Bolt's going to resolve targeting Spellskite. Time for Logan to scry.
Oh, he sacrificed it
to
the Viscerous.
Yeah, change the target and then sacrifice it to the Seer.
Yep.
Top card's going to go to the bottom. Ooze is going to activate here on the end step. Going to take care of the creature there in Phil's graveyard, that Eidolon. Logan can gain some life. I'm not sure if there's a way for Phil to overcome the Ooze right now.
And it looked like Phil had the start he wanted for the game. You know, he had the 1-drop, he had the Searing Blaze on turn 2, he had a couple of Eidolons, and Logan did not care.
Yeah. He's worked his way through it pretty well, and he's worked his way through it without casting any of these removal spells either.
Yep.
Which is actually pretty notable. So we're going to head back Logan's way now. His Ooze is a 6/6, he's at 13, sitting pretty comfortable as he picked up a copy of Windswept Heath for the turn. Anafenza, Windswept Heath, Path to Exile, and Abrupt Decay in hand. Now here comes the Ooze.
Boom.
Pretty safe attack here, I'd say.
Yeah, what do you want to do? Are you going to chump block?
Yeah.
More life from the ooze.
Yep.
You're not going to chump block? Hard for you to cast your spells with the Eidolon on the table.
There's your chump block. Swift Spear down. We head back Phil Wiandt's way. Yep. It's not a hard lock, but
it's certainly not a sustainable situation for Phil here.
Yeah. It's pretty bad news here.
Yeah.
We know Phil has Skullcrack in his hand.
It seems like the last couple of turns here might just be going through the motions.
You're not sensing a way out here?
You know, I would be surprised to see it.
And on a general level, I actually think Eidolon's good against Logan's deck.
Yes. I would agree. It feels like a deck that should be really good. You know, you're like turn 1, creature, turn 2, the Eidolon. He has all these cheap things in his deck. But it just always came down just one turn too late.
Well, Eidolon's going to come in now. See if we can get some amount of work done here. Mize is going to remove the Swift Spear first. We'll gain a life, go up to 14. Ooze is going to grow into a 7/7.
And it looks like Logan's going to use one of his removal spells.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot to be. Use the Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, he'll take a little damage, but he'll get the life back through the ooze.
Yep. So there goes the Eidolon. Mize will fall down to 12 from that Eidolon trigger.
And Phil's kind of freed up to play the spells in his hand, but they're not high impact at this point in the game.
Yeah, we have a Goblin Guide on defense.
Yep.
I think that kind of speaks to where we're at in this game.
Well, it looked like he had another Goblin Guide in his hand.
Oof. It feels like almost he's drawn his cards in the wrong order over the course of these two games. But I mean, Logan's also provided some resistance here as well.
Well, and I think Logan sees the win here. He's going to clear out the blocker, and then he can sacrifice his 3 creatures to the Viscera Shear if he wants to, eat them with the Scavenging Ooze, and have lethal.
Yeah, 6, 7, 8, yeah, 9, 10, 11.
But he doesn't even need to do that. You know, he's not in any danger of being burned out or anything. He could wait the extra turn if he wants to.
Yeah.
Play it safe.
Logan looks like he's going to go eating. He's going to at least be floating and sacrificing the Viscera Seer. And as you mentioned, he can get a little bit aggressive here with his use of Viscera Seer and Scavenging Ooze if he'd like to. His life total's so high. He can play it safe if he'd like. He can get a little aggressive. There's a couple different routes he can go.
Sure. And this is a little bit interesting because Phil got the Spellskite off of the table, and he has a couple Path to Exiles in his deck.
Yeah.
So Logan could move in for the win, and Phil could have the Path, and Logan will have used most of his resources, and maybe it's a game again.
Yeah. Here's Anafenza. The draw for Logan this turn was a Qasali Pride Mage. Here comes Viscera Seer and Scavenging Ooze. 3 Path to Exiles in Phil's deck.
10 points. He'll pump it for the 11th.
And then I suppose we'll see if Phil does have the removal spell, because here's Logan presenting lethal. Is there a path? That is the question.
Well, at this point, I can't imagine that there's a path in that hand.
We'll see what your read is like here in the booth.
Yeah.
I know there's a Skullcrack. And that is going to do it. Logan Mize is going to win this match here over Phil Wiandt, 2-0. Obzon Company will take care of Burn for Mize. He'll start things off here, 2016 at 2-0.